real stories and transformative ideas from changemakers around the globe. I'm your host, Naseem Ullah Bhutta, and today we are embarking on a journey into the dynamic world of organizational transformation with someone who doesn't just talk about change, she ignites it. Join us is Kimberly Wiefling, a force of nature, and what she calls a scrappy approach to making impossible possible. Kimberly transforms mentors into leaders, scattered groups into true teams, and ambitious goals into tangible outcomes. There are so many things that I can share about her, but I want to just get in contact with her to so that she can talk to my audience directly. No need to be sandwiched between her and my audience. How are you? What's up?
Oh, you're wonderful, Naseem. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to, that's wonderful. I would like to add in my life that you are doing right now. In every meeting, whenever I with you, you do such kind of things. I learn a lot of things from you. Two or three lessons. Yes and but, yes and. That was a good thing. And why is failure good thing? You talk about that thing. Failure is something good.
Yeah, well, I live in Silicon Valley in the San Francisco Bay Area, known for startups and innovation. And here we don't even call it a failure, Naseem. We call it a prototype. We call it an experiment. If you're not willing to fail, you have to be really careful what you start. And that means you can never start anything that is not absolutely certain of success. That is not innovation. Innovation is an iterative process built on taking necessary risks, exploring possibilities, putting things together that people will say you're crazy, it's stupid, it's never going to work, and then keep going. When you fall down, you stand up and you try again, and you learn from the so called failures. So every time you're building this spiral of success on a mountain of failures. Woohoo!
Yes, then we can say success is not you can say a straight line. It's a journey. It's a journey. We can say.
It is a journey, and
Yes.
sometimes it starts by taking steps. Sometimes it starts by leaping off of a cliff. And while you are falling, growing wings and learning how to fly. I mean, you cannot cross a big canyon in two small steps. So sometimes you need to make a giant leap, and it is scary. I'm not saying it's not scary. I'm just saying there has to be something you care about more than your fear of failure.
Right. In last meeting when I was with you, just with Zafar, you were talking about leadership and manager. You make us in a practice, and I at that moment I learned a lot of things. What's your personal experience first sparked your passion for leadership transformation?
My personal experience with failure?
No, no, no. Leadership transformation.
Oh my gosh. Well, come on. I started life out as a scientist. I got a bachelor's degree in physics and chemistry, double major. Then I got a master's degree in physics. I didn't have any human skills. I went to work in engineering jobs for the next 10 years, and then product development, program management, hardware, software, firmware, mass spectrometers, all kinds of things like that. And I didn't realize that I needed to care about human skills, communication, teamwork, leadership. And then slowly I began to realize I could get results, but the people I worked with really didn't want to work with me again. And one time before I got my last real job in the corporate world, I was taking a job as the vice president of program management. at a startup that was a spin-off from Xerox PARC here in Silicon Valley. And I made myself a promise. When I leave this job, I will have these relationships still intact. And I promised myself I will get results through relationships, through the people. And it was hard because sometimes I wanted to use a hammer when I really needed a Torx wrench. And so it takes a lot more patience. And of course, I had to take classes and read books and think and study and sometimes meditate because my whole family was not raised to be patient and kind. We were raised to get stuff done.
Kimberly, when someone you can say have an interaction with you first time, does she can imagine you are a scientist, you are a literary person, or you are? I couldn't get that you are a scientist. You are full of
Yeah,
energy and your life is everywhere.
yeah. It's so crazy because in the science, in the engineering world, like in HP, over 80 to 90% of people that they hired at that time were Myers-Briggs types ISTJ. And I am Myers-Briggs type ENFP, the exact opposite. And so I was actually sent to a coach in Hewlett Packard, the same coach who was coaching the CEO at that time. And she said, "What are you doing here? You are in a place where you are so different and you are so in the minority that you are wrong, not just different." And so she told me I have to quit because of my personality. And also in physics, when I was first studying physics, it was only 2% women, and trust me, they did not like women and they didn't like this kind of woman. And so many times my colleagues would say, "Oh, Kimberly, you're overreacting. You're taking it too personally. You're over emotional." And I said, "This is normal for me. This is my whole family." And I told them, "You are underreacting. You're taking it too impersonally," right? I mean, my personality is the same for my whole family. If you meet my family, most of us are like this. Woo! Energetic! Yay! And everyone doesn't like that. That's fine. They don't have to hang around with me. But, and I say but, this kind of personality can be very useful when you want to make impossible possible. And this energy, this exploring and seeing things differently and being able to reshape the world, this is a superpower. And I can't do it by myself. I need a team. I need to be with other people who can see what I can't see. I can't see the back of my own head. You know, a baseball team doesn't have 9 great catchers, right? You need to have people. And so it's been a long journey, Naseem. I still have times when I have to take a breath because I want to strangle somebody or gut them like a fish.
I think you should go some movies that you can say relates you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I gotta tell myself sometimes, don't act like a baby.
Okay, my next question. You describe yourself as a citizen of planet Earth. How has that, you can say, the sharpened the way you work with people and organizations globally? Everyone is a citizen of this Earth. When we claim,
Well, that is my first identification. As a scientist, I was very aware that when astronauts went into outer space and looked back on the planet Earth, their whole understanding of who they were and their place in this world changed. This little tiny blue dot floating in this massive universe, this dark background, and they returned to Earth with a greater humility. And the from space there are no country borders. There are no lines between the countries. And I think as I have grown in my life, I've been so fortunate to work with people from over 50 different countries. And I have found that, you know what? Yeah, there are differences of the culture, the food, the language, the religions, the way they conduct their lives. And there's so much we have in common. I have found this common ground of human beingness connecting me with people from all over the world. And so I choose to identify first and foremost as a citizen of planet Earth. I happen to live in Silicon Valley, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area, where over 60% of the people who live here don't speak English at home. And this is on the edge of California, which has 40 million people. California, if it was its own country, would be the fourth biggest economy in the world, but it's not its own country. It's attached to the United States of America, which is part of North America, which is part of planet Earth. So I feel so strongly committed, citizen of planet Earth. I have thousands of friends from so many countries. If I hear of some bad thing happening in Pakistan, I have friends I care about. I want to pick up the phone and say, hey, are you okay? What's happening? If I hear about an earthquake in Indonesia, I have friends who live there. Hey, are you okay? During COVID, I had friends die in India, in Indonesia, in Japan. Okay, this is terrible, but I am impacted by the global reality. Yes, I also have friends here, and a lot of them aren't American. I mean, when I was at one party, one time we were having a party at our house, and it was like Christmas Day or something. And we had about 15 people here for dinner. And I said, raise your hand if you're a US citizen. We were the only ones, just me and the people who live in my house. Everyone else was from somewhere else. Okay, I said, raise your hand if you're actually not even religious Christian. And half of them weren't even religious. They're like, yeah, we're just coming here for the Christmas dinner. So
That's why
when you
you
live
are
with that kind of diversity, it changes you.
yes. That's why you are a global citizen and a citizen of Earth planet. Now I got the idea. The
Well, if
reason
you
is
have that experience, anybody who has that experience would change their heart.
yes. I just got the idea. Now you are living in the whole world, not in your own country. You are living in the whole world.
Yeah.
Okay, in some video I was scrolling about you. There was you were talking about ACT.
Yeah.
That is, how can someone act like a leader without title? Is it possible?
Oh, yes. Leadership has nothing to do with position in an organization chart or title on a business card. It is about acting like a leader. There are 5 practices, 30 specific behaviors that have been proven to be the behaviors of the best, most admired leaders on planet Earth. And when you act like these things, if you do these 5 practices, these 30 behaviors, people will think you're a great leader. And if you communicate like a leader, communication is one of the key leadership skills, of course. And when I say communicate, I don't only mean talking. Of course, talking about your vision. I also mean listening, listening with empathy, caring, hearing what people are saying, and really, really getting it. And thinking like a leader. A leader doesn't think, what's great for me? How can I make myself great? How can I make myself rich and famous? A real leader says, what do my people need? And how can I be honest with them and supportive and high integrity and have my values always in mind so that I act with ethics to do the right thing for my people, my team, my company, our world. This is what a leader does. You can do that as the lowest part of person on the org chart. You can do that. You can act like a leader. These 30 behaviors fit on one page. Get it? It's called the Leadership Challenge by Barry Posner and Jim Kouzes. And you can communicate like a leader by listening, listening. We have 2 ears and one mouth. Listen twice as much as talking. And listen to understand, not to respond. Interesting, tell me more. Huh, yes, oh, yeah. Empathy and thinking like a leader, thinking about stop, think, organize, plan, big why, what's our purpose, big who. the stakeholders in our universe that we have to care about. Big what? What exactly is success through the eyes of these stakeholders and the measures of that success? Leaders, stop, think, organize, plan before taking action. That's what I mean by thinking like a leader. Hey, you know what? All of this pretty much fits on one page. But unfortunately, in most countries, you got to take a test and get a license before you can drive a car. But you can be in a management position without knowing what's on one piece of paper about leadership. I want to have the leadership learner's permit.
That's right. That's wonderful. And a few years back, I got through a book, Goldman book, Emotional Intelligence. Uh,
Oh,
with my teacher, I conducted a program that was pilot project in my college. We worked on 2 years, and it was a good result. I learned empathy at that moment, and even self-awareness, some glimpses. Then it, to some extent, it changed my behavior with my students. Nowadays, in my classroom, there's a student who all the time remains mute. Sometimes I pick his hand and said, "My friend, please talk to me or sit with me." You can say he sit with me most of the time, and nowadays, after 1 month, he is trying to speak up in classroom to contribute something. And you can say rest of the class normally say him, "Sir, he is your friend." And I'm proud of it that he is going to change a little bit with the passage of time. Empathy is a more, you can say, one of the blessings that you can teach a lot of things without uttering saying any word.
you know what? I found that I didn't have any empathy for myself. So it was really hard for me to have empathy for other people. So we can start by giving ourselves empathy, by taking some care and caring about our own well being and giving ourselves a break. We don't have to carry the whole world on our shoulders. We can rest. We can ask for help. We can admit mistakes and imperfections. Yes, start with self empathy, and then you can extend more empathy to other people in your life.
Kimberly, I think that you are a blessing for me. I learned, you can say, one message in one meeting or two messages in one meeting. This message is very important right now for myself. My daughter is going to say, "Papa, please take a break sometime." And I keep on working. Your words are, you can say, the most
Oh.
effective.
Well,
Yes.
Papa, I hope Papa will take a break.
Yes. Okay. You often say lead people, manage cows. What is the concept of that?
Well, I was once speaking in Bulgaria a couple of years ago, and was in front of 2,000 people, and I said, "Raise your hand if you like to be managed." I've asked this question many different places. No one ever raises their hand. No one likes to be managed. And what I have found is there's a significant difference between management and leadership. Both are important. For example, management is planning, organizing, controlling, and correcting. Leadership is setting a direction with your team, aligning people on that direction, motivating and inspiring them to go in that direction. And management would be removing obstacles, providing resources. But you don't manage the people. You manage the things, the logistics, the schedule, the budget. You lead the team, you lead the people. You feel the difference in that word, lead people, manage things. Lead people, manage cows. I don't know if cows like to be managed either, but I haven't had a chance to talk to cows. But I know human beings do not like to be managed. You have to inspire them, attract them like a magnet, not push them like a boss. I mean, there are actually books called this. Can you see this book?
Yes. Effective.
Well, There's a word. That's not even a real word, okay? But people invented that word because there are so many terrible leaders who are trying to manage people. And there's some other books written by Dr. Robert Sutton. One of them is Good Boss, Bad Boss. And he actually quotes my Scrappy project management book in this book. And he's written about bosses. I mean, who wants to be bossed? Nobody wants to be bossed. They want to be inspired to go on a journey together to a future that none of them could achieve alone. And that is leadership. Sometimes you need to do management. Yes, because you need to manage the project, manage the budget, manage the schedule, manage the things. But when you start managing people and pushing them and forcing them, you have lost the game.
Right. And there is something, so many people conduct their workshops, but you conduct workshops. SHOCK. What is this?
Shock! Wow! Like, ah! Ah! Yeah, it's sometimes shocking because the workshops that I do invite people out of the comfort zone into the uncomfortable zone. That is where growth happens. And I ask them, please do not go into the danger zone. So this is an emotional safety briefing, right? If you want to grow, if you want to change, if you want to transform yourself in positive, powerful ways, it doesn't happen in the comfort zone. So you're going to have to be uncomfortable. And you have to decide when you stop. Because if you go too far, you go into the danger zone. And that is never what I want. I want people to feel safe. They can stay out of the danger zone in my WorkSHOCK learning labs. So I invite them, I inspire them, they decide.
Right. That's the concept, that's the philosophy behind WorkSHOCK. I got the point.
Yeah, because, okay, Naseem, if you read a book about exercise, will you get stronger?
No,
If you watch a video about nutrition and health, will you get healthier?
no, no.
No, you have to take action. Okay, so I mean, just learning things changes nothing. You have to actually practice it, exercise, do the muscles. And if you don't exercise your leadership muscle, you won't be a better leader. And if you don't exercise your team muscles, you won't make a stronger team. And this is what our whole approach is. We do innovation, creativity, design thinking workshops. We do organizational culture workshops. We do sustainability workshops, scenario planning, strategic planning, 10x moonshot breakthroughs. And we never do it by just talking about it. I mean, I have been to other workshops, normal workshops with consultants who they're so smart and they tell you what they know. Guess what? That doesn't change anything.
Right. To get changed, to get modified, we have to leave our comfort zones.
Absolutely. And you have to do the practice. If you
Yes.
want to be better at meditating, you have to meditate, not just think about meditation or talk about it. I mean, I have a really hard time meditating. Can you imagine me sitting still for 20 minutes?
No,
I did it
even
last night. I went to
I
a
cannot
meditation
expect that
workshop.
Kimberly can sit 5 minutes still.
It's so hard for me. It's so hard. And last night I went to a meditation workshop with a bunch of other people where we heard someone talk about the benefits of meditation and then we did a 20-minute meditation. It was so difficult. And the first 500 times are the hardest. I tell people, if you want to get better at something, start by being bad at it. If you're not willing to be bad at something, you can never be great at it. That goes along with the failure thing.
Right. That's great. What's the biggest challenge global teams face today, especially when working across culture and time zones?
Oh,
Because
okay.
culture and time zone are a big challenge.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I have done workshops from 3 a.m. till 7 a.m. Uh, you know, time zones can be fixed. One of the ways to fix time zones is airplane. Just fly and all meet together in the same place. And if you're not willing to do that, well, you're missing out on some very powerful human interaction. And the other thing that I've noticed that people really struggle with in global teams, you know, if I have a problem with you, maybe it's because you and me have a conflict, but I might say, oh, it's because he's Pakistani. And you say, oh, because she's American. No, we give up on each other because of our cultural differences or our language differences. Hey, there's Google Translate, there's translation tools that you can use. Language is no longer a barrier. And I love to ask people, who's married to someone from their same culture, who speaks the same language? Oh, yeah, okay. Do you ever have fights? Do you ever have conflict? Of course you do, but you don't give up on them. But when you have problems with your team member from another country, another culture, oh, you go, oh, it's because they're Japanese or they're German or they're Pakistani. It's not. It's because they are a human being and you are a human being, and together you need to work through it. But we use the culture as an excuse.
Right.
Don't give up on each other. And sometimes they pretend to understand because the language is difficult. They're ashamed to say, oh, can you please repeat? Let's use Google Translate. Let's use the tools. If we pretend to understand each other, we pretend to work together. And that is not a formula for success in a global team.
That's great. Excuse, there is no excuse for this kind of things.
No.
Everything can be managed. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How can companies stay innovative while committing to long-term sustainability goals? If
Yeah.
they,
So I'm working a little bit, I'm working a lot on this. This is
yes.
innovation inside of a big company is really hard. There's a couple of reasons. It's like, ooh, we can't start a project that only 1 in 10 will succeed. I mean, in the startup world, 1 in 10, 1 in 15 startups succeed. If you start 10 projects in the business world, they don't expect you to cancel 9 of them. But the best companies do cancel more than half of the projects they start. So, innovation inside, you have to protect the innovators and put them in a different part of the company where you use different metrics to track their progress. The progress is how many mistakes, how many experiments, how many prototypes, how many failures, what did we learn? It's not how much did we sell, how much did we make money, how much profit. So that is called intrapreneurship, innovating inside. And I've been doing a program with one of my wonderful clients for the last almost 20 years, where we do an innovating inside 6 month program. We get 24 people from 10 different countries all over the world. This is a 10,000 person company that does business in 40 countries, and it's globally headquartered in Tokyo. And then we have them choose 4 or 5 impossible projects that your manager would never allow you to do. Your colleagues would say you're crazy, that's impossible. Your family would worry. And if you did try and fail, you would bring shame on your family for generations to come. That's the requirement for these project ideas. And then out of the 30 or 40 ideas they bring, they choose 4 to 6. They form teams, and we spend 15 days together in 6 months working on these projects as well as leadership and team effectiveness. So, the first week, boom, they choose the projects and teams. The second week, they're moving towards it, they're prototyping, they're experimenting. The third week, they're saying, hey, if the executives approve, what would we do next week, next month, next quarter, next year? And then they present on the very last day of these 15 days, they present these amazing performances in front of their executives at headquarters. And they have presented, about over 90 projects in the last 20 years. Over half of them have happened eventually, not during the 6 months, Sometimes it's just planting a seed into the brains of other people or the executives. Then 5 years later, it will happen. But you have to have the incubator, the seeds of innovation must be allowed to grow, not killed, not demanded to be productive right away. I mean, you don't go in the second day after you plant corn and say, how much corn did we get? Now, if you can't do this, if you cannot tolerate this kind of uncertainty and risk and danger and creativity and innovation, then you just have to acquire innovation. You know, you just have to go out there and say, all right, let's just buy startups. Let's license technology. Let's partner with people who can be innovative. And a lot of companies just do that. Now, the difficult thing is if you have a department that's doing that, partnering with outside forces to get innovation from outside, your internal R&D group becomes a little angry and they don't like it because it's competition. But Procter & Gamble, many years ago, the CEO of Procter & Gamble said, look, there's more brains outside of our company than inside. We're smart, and there's more brains out there. From now on, over half of our new products will come from ideas that come from outside of our company. Now, the R&D guys don't like it, right? We're supposed to be the inventors. But if you really want to be an innovative company, you cannot do all the innovation yourself. You have got to license, partner, acquire, and incubate innovation inside, out of the way of the normal product development and innovation life cycle.
Wonderful analogy. Wonderful analogy that you are presenting. Okay, Kimberly, you are a global business consultant in my city. It's Gujranwala, one of the biggest industrial cities of Pakistan. Very close to my home, there is a chamber of commerce. If I go there and you can say ask something to get your consultancy, if may ask me some question, what's one breakthrough result from your work that stands out as a game changer in business? You conduct a
Okay.
lot of, yes.
All right. The company that I've been working with, helping to create an innovation incubator inside, doing the leadership and teams for the last 20 years with over 90 projects, over impossible, over half of them have happened. 2 years ago, they changed their tagline of their whole company on their website. So now their logo says their company name, 𝗚𝗺𝗽, and underneath of it, it says, possible starts here. Now, I didn't really blame myself for that, but somebody from the company told me, Kimberly, you know, it's because of you. I don't know. I hope I had some influence on that. But when a company changes their whole tagline to possible starts here, you know, something is changing. And I feel so happy to be a part of it, even to contribute a little bit to that.
Kimberly, wonderful. I have one last question. Before last question, I will get some idea. In my industrial city, I don't know how to connect you with other people. I will search something. You can say in my city, people would like to grow and have some global connections. Obviously, they are doing great. You can say the neighboring city is Sialkot, that is another industrial city and renowned city all over the world. And the footballs from all over the world, when there is a World Cup, most of the footballs are made from Sialkot. Yes, most of the, you can say that, you can say it may be wrong, more than 80% footballs are made in Sialkot from Pakistan. We
Wow.
wonderful cities, yes.
Amazing.
Amazing. That's great. I will get some information after, or you can say some other day after this conversation, after or another day. How can we bridge your link with other, you can say the people, if it is possible? I will.
Oh, well, of course it's possible. Anything is possible.
Yes, sitting before you, no is impossible. I cannot even dare to say impossible.
You cannot dare because I will put you in my slide presentation like Lord Kelvin, who said heavier than air flying machines are impossible, or this smart guy that said, oh, television may be technically feasible, but will never be financially viable.
Yes. Okay, it was a great thing. My last question. What's one leadership habit people can start practicing immediately after this show?
Hmm. The one leadership habit that makes a huge difference is self-leadership. So stop, think, who am I? What am I committed to more than my comfort, more than my personal ego? Organize, big why, big who, big what, measures of success, and plan and move in that direction. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead other people. Have a big vision, a dream for yourself, and practice pursuing things without any evidence it's possible, without knowing how, being committed when you even have no confidence. Commitment is much more important than confidence. If we can change ourselves, then maybe we can lead others.
Thank you very much. I got you can 2 to 3 lessons in this conversation. What one is a growth mindset that will need take time, and you can say other commitment at the last moment, and one if I want to learn. If anyone want to learn something new, he or she have to come out of comfort zone and face some you can say difficult situations. It will make those people learn something better and fit for the next you can say this you can field or you can say the scenario in which they can make more progress.
Thank you. Beautifully said.
It's a great time. I love that you were, you can say more time, but we decided 30 minutes. It's up now. Thank you very much for giving me time. And it's, you can say more than play for me. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure. I hope we will meet in person someday soon. Meanwhile,
Inshallah.
I'm sending you so much love.
I will prepare such kind of things next when we have a meeting. I will get to these things. These are wonderful things.
Yeah, you have to have the props so that you can communicate beyond words. You know, words are only one small percentage of the meaning in communication,
Yes.
only about 7%. But the facial expression, the tone of voice, if I say, oh, I really had a great time talking with you today. But I really had a wonderful time talking with you today. And you can feel it in my tone of voice. You can see it in my expression. And I am giving you a virtual hug. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.